To be saying on the one hand, I've won this war. To be saying on the second hand, we've already won and there's just some mess in the Gulf. And then all of a sudden to say, it's at 6:37 p.m., I've obliterated them. There's nothing left. And then at 7:44 p.m., just barely an hour later, you issue an ultimatum. The question is, what is the armed forces going to do? Because he has control of our armed forces. If he gives this order, they're almost certain to follow it, even as foolish as it would be. Now, fortunately, we have 48 hours, so people have a chance to start talking about this. And hopefully that means leaders in Qatar, in Saudi Arabia, in Bahrain, in Kuwait, in Israel. You guys don't want Iran to make good on this. Those videos, go look at my X account. You can see some of the shots that are coming through there. All these claims that the Iranian missiles and ability to strike targets in the region is all been eliminated. It's self-evidently untrue. Those missiles are coming in, and you can see some air defense missiles going up. Most of them are missing. Some of them aren't even getting attacked at all, and these things are coming in hitting pinpoint accuracy. You don't want them having that kind of pinpoint accuracy on desalinization plants in countries, our allies, that never wanted this war. Certainly the people didn't want it. When they don't have enough water to drink, and you will be putting their lives seriously at risk. This is a very, very serious situation here, friends. Because this is a war that should never have happened, and now that we're trying to figure out how to get it off. Adding to the chaos, by the way, I've also put this on my X account. You can go and check it out. Axios was reporting earlier this evening, I think around 6 p.m., that the headline made it imply that there was some kind of negotiated settlement might be worked out, that the White House was working on a 6-point plan, which was interesting at its own point, as I put in my X post, because some of the points, actually most of them, is what Iran offered prior to the war. Then I said, well, I was thinking at the time, now why would they be willing to talk about this now when Iran has been saying all the time they're not going to have a negotiated settlement unless they get terms of their choosing, and that they were prepared to go for many months, possibly even years, in a war like this to put pain on the White House. And I thought, well, maybe something changed that I don't aware. Maybe there was more pain on the Iranian side than I want. Well, then I start reading further into it, and I realized these are Witkoff's ideas. He's the one that's kind of been behind this. And then you see that we're not talking to the Iranian side. And then it says that there's through intermediaries, Egypt, and I can't remember the other country. Turns out that Iran is saying, yeah, we're willing to talk to you, just like Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said. But here's my requirements. You're going to have to pony up some pretty significant gives, or forget it, we're not even going to talk. So there really wasn't any change on that. And maybe because that's what the intermediary said and reported back to President Trump, that this absurd offer was it's insulting as it can be. They're not going to give you something that they offered before war. Now, after you've done all this stuff, to get you out of hot water. There's no reason for them to do that. And there's every reason to think that after 22 days, they're not going to suddenly fall apart. This is a country that knows how to suffer and has a lot in the past. And now I think maybe President Trump is either recognizing the danger to the United States and to our economy, and that he's losing the ability to keep that price of oil below $100 a barrel. Or it's just as simple that he is losing cognitive capability. I'm telling you, we have to genuinely, this is not an insult to the president at all. This is not an insult to President Trump. This is an acknowledgement that these actions are not normal. These are not things that a rational person would do. And I know it's hard to see because oftentimes President Trump he's made his whole shtick, his whole brand is on being irrational, at least acting that way. It's one thing if it's an act. It's another thing if he genuinely doesn't have control, and it's hard to tell the difference. But now that we're talking consequences that have life and death consequences and results for other people, it has got the U.S. into a war it can't militarily win. We can't, the fact that we've even tried to do this on the cheap with air power alone without having any kind of ground component just plunged us into an unwinnable situation. We can't just manufacture a ground force, an army out of thin air, and even if we could, it would be suicidal because all the advantages would go to the defensive. So that's not even on the table. Well, now President Trump is coming to this conclusion, or he's just not able to make rational decisions anymore. And listen, the vice president, the cabinet, they're going to have to start giving some serious consideration, starting probably right now, but certainly tomorrow. Is it time for the 25th Amendment? For the safety and security of our country, it may be time to take that incredibly difficult move and to do something that is heretofore unthinkable in American history as we approach our 250th anniversary. The idea that a president would actually be incapacitated, that would have to use the 25th Amendment to get him out is just unbelievable, and certainly to the supporters of President Trump. But we're at that point, folks. Loyalty or not, it can't be loyalty to the man, especially if he's losing the ability to cognitively make decisions for the life and death of our country, no matter how loyal to you are as a MAGA. If it's apparent that he is dangerous to everyone, to our allies, to Israel, to Saudi Arabia, to all these other countries that would be target. Do not think that Iran doesn't mean what they say. They'll hit those targets, and they can. This could be catastrophic for the region. Either President Trump has got to be convinced to walk this back, and he's good at that, and believe me, I'll applaud it if he does. I'm not going to insult the man at all. But we've got to get this under control here, or this thing could spiral way out of control. That's always the problem when you start a war. Sometimes you think you got control of it, but if it starts happening, it spirals out of control, especially now. Iran has a vote, and they are digging in. So that's where we are right now, folks. Just wanted to bring this to your attention. It's kind of a short show tonight, but there is a lot going on, and the danger is very high right now. So we will be taking another good look at this tomorrow. Definitely we'll be bringing things to you. If there's any other breaking news, you can count on Daniel Leaders Deep Dive. We'll bring this to you like we bring to you all those things here, but you deserve to know the truth. And this one is really uncomfortable and very unpleasant, but it's something you need to know. Thanks very much, folks. We'll see you on the next episode of Daniel Leaders Deep Dive.
Oh my god, this scares shit. Don't be a coward.
I have the best angle. I have to come out.